It is my honor to have been invited to address this historic and inaugural International Climate and Health Africa Conference. This is no ordinary gathering. We convene to share perspectives and possible strategies towards improving the well-being and the dignity of the citizens of Africa, especially in the face of the devastating impacts of climate change. The focus of this Climate and Health Africa Conference is commendable. The platform allows us all to better understand the emerging evidence from across our continent, which is shaping the health landscape under climate stress. Evidence includes essential data on environmental exposures and climate health epidemiology, while also focusing on what it takes to implement climate adaptation interventions and build resilient health systems. The exploration of how to reduce the carbon footprint through mitigation strategies with the added bonus of core benefits for public health is critical. Through this engagement, we must therefore ensure that our work continues to be grounded on the principles of ethics and equity, particularly prioritizing the most vulnerable in our societies. This conference further provides for dialogue between researchers and policymakers towards developing and exchanging solutions which work best for our people and our continent. I applaud our development partners, including the Wellcome Trust, for supporting and undertaking multiple capacity building programs. These will not only support researchers, but lay the foundation for strong and sustainable institutions, as well as institutional arrangements in our quest to address climate and health-related issues. It is therefore my expectation that the insights gained at this gathering will resonate across the continent while shaping Africa's contribution to COP29 and beyond on climate change impacts on the Earth. Ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, our beloved continent Africa is enduring the worst effects of global warming. The land that nourished us for a millennium is now being ravaged by increasingly severe heat, droughts, floods, and cyclones. The impacts are profound, costing African economies between 3 and 5% of our GDPs. Despite being among the least responsible for emissions causing the climate disturbances, Africa bears both the brunt and the cost of climate change. The harsh realities are distinctive. From failed crops, floods, cyclones, widespread water shortages, as well as disruptions of our cultures, our identities, lives, and livelihoods. These have put millions of people at risk. Climate change is not merely an environmental disaster, but a profound public health emergency. As temperatures rise and heat waves stretch longer, we are witnessing the proliferation of heat-related illness and deaths. Diseases we thought were under control, which include malaria, cholera, and diarrhea infections, are now resurging. This, coupled with illegal sanctions, particularly imposed in Zimbabwe, is having a far-reaching implication on straining our health system. Whilst we call for global action, international cooperation, financial support, as well as the growing realization of Africa to work towards inclusive and sustainable development, unite us to act now. The concrete manifestation of the deeply rooted Pan-African drive for unity, self-determination, progress, and collective prosperity must see us as the African continent playing our part in confronting and reversing climate change. We cannot and must not wait for others to lead. Through such pivotal platforms, let us commit to concrete action, exchange innovative ideas and technologies, as well as share experiences. The right to protect our citizenry can never be delegated. As African nations, we must be at the forefront of protecting our people, our flora and the fauna, while advancing our development aspirations and livelihoods as a people. The decisions we make at this conference should thus pave way for a healthier, more sustainable and prosperous Africa, where no one, no place is left behind. We must build the climate resilient health systems that can adapt to and shield our people, health workforce, and the systems from hazards. Ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, and the 26th United Nations Climate Change Conference of the Parties, COP26, Africa spoke with one voice, and we achieved notable milestones. The Glasgow Climate Pact set forth a clear path, affirming that a world where the global temperature rise is kept below 1.5% centigrade is safer than one that surpasses that threshold. Developed nations acknowledged their responsibility to assist in just transitions that promote sustainable development, the eradication of poverty, and the creation of decent jobs. Yet, more must still be done. It remains concerning that the financial resources necessary to enable developing nations to mitigate and adapt to climate change remain insufficient. Africa's realities, especially special needs and circumstances, must be globally recognized. the tenets of common but differential responsibilities must be upheld. We unfortunately carry the largest burden of climate change, an occurrence Africa did not cause. Our economies are among the most vulnerable, and this exacerbates the impacts of climate change on our people. The recognition of such a reality will unlock the vital financial flows needed for Africa to undertake just transitions towards a low-carbon future. Global funding mechanisms are needed to cover the major losses and damages that countries in the global south are facing. As we prepare for COP29 and look ahead to COP32, Africa must once again stand united. We must advance our development agenda, framed by our aspirations and driven by the actions of our people. The outcomes of this conference must play a crucial role in shaping Africa's future at the intersection of climate and health. Together, and in line with initiatives being made by other African countries and the developing world, we will publish the Harare Africa Health Climate Declaration, a firm commitment to building health resilience in the face of climate change. As we move forward, we must do so with unity and solidarity. This is Africa's moment to stand tall with a unified voice and a clear, concise key messages that reflect our collective aspirations as a people. I challenge this conference to commit to climate resilient health systems, where African nations must embed climate adaptation and mitigation strategies into national health plans and national development strategies. This includes developing early warning systems as well as strengthening health infrastructure and the health workforce to ensure resilience in the face of growing climate risks. We must also scale up research and surveillance to understand how climate change is impacting health, especially the spread of diseases and heat stress. Our research should continue to focus on the vulnerable populations, including women, children, and those living with disabilities who are most affected by climate change. The identification of critical climate health indicators and enhancing surveillance to monitor health systems' capacities to cope with disease outbreaks must be given due priority by our respective authorities. Creating this knowledge is essential for building climate resilient health systems that leave no one and no place behind. Additionally, focus must be given on mitigation actions with the health core benefits. As the respective jurisdictions, let us adopt green technologies in healthcare to build the climate resilient and the low carbon sustainable health systems.